Welcome to Get the Right Job. I'm Jeff Magnuson. In today's episode, I want to talk about a topic that came up recently on TikTok, and that has to do with working from home and what's going to happen when companies start calling people back or even demanding employees return to the office. In my experience and thinking about this topic and reading various articles, I've concluded that in the longer term, the market is going to decide what the new structure is at companies. Companies are not going to have a blanket say over where employees can work. And before we go any further, I fully realize that this does not apply to every industry. People in the hospitality industry, for example, among other ones, don't have the option to work from home. But for the most part, there are tons and tons of companies out there with roles that can easily be performed at home, remotely, not in a traditional office. Before COVID, so many employers were hesitant to let their employees work from home or work remotely, even part-time. And a lot of that stems from not trusting their employees, being driven by fear because they have to see them, or they felt if they weren't in the office working, then they couldn't trust that they were going to actually put in a full day at home. And FaceTime was really important. Obviously, COVID blew the lid right off of that because companies did not have a choice. Everybody had to work from home that could work from home for safety reasons. And this has gone on now for 15 months. And what has been realized across so many different industries is that the work can get done. Employees and managers and so on have risen to the challenge of working remotely. It's not easy. It's not always ideal, but people could get it done. COVID forced their hand to recognize this because there was no other option. These last 15 months have also opened employees' eyes to what kind of work arrangement they prefer going forward. Many have realized that they would rather work from home or rather have some sort of a flexible or hybrid model when this pandemic finally ends. And it's not just a few people, it is many people. Many people have reassessed what's important to them and how they want to spend their time. Working from home obviously has pros and cons, but one of the pros is that it cuts out a lot of wasted, stressful time commuting. That's also very costly. So that free time can allow them to spend more time doing things that they enjoy, or spending time with their friends or family, or doing work on a schedule that's more beneficial to them. Maybe very early in the morning or very late at night or throughout the day, whatever it might be, as long as the work gets done. This is what I wanted to focus on today because this is a really important topic that is going to resonate across many industries. I've read articles about companies forcing people to come back into the office because of culture reasons or a whole host of different reasons why they want people back in. And in the short term, sure, if employees can't just leave their company or if they don't feel strongly enough to just quit, many people can't just quit, that's understandable. But in the medium to long term, if employees don't want to be there anymore and they'd rather work remotely, competitors, other companies are going to realize this and start offering flexible or full-time work-from-home arrangements to attract top talent. And that, in turn, is going to force the hand of companies who are being incredibly rigid about insisting that employees work in an office. The market, the job market, will determine ultimately what the arrangement is going to be in the medium to longer term. Companies can dictate in the shorter term, but this is going to become, just like salary, it's going to become an important point for employees, and employers are going to have to be flexible and figure out what they need to offer if they want top talent. I also realize that this arrangement doesn't work for everybody. Some people want to go back into the office, and that's fine. I'm not here to suggest one way is better than the other. I have my preferences. I've been working from home since 2017, and I love it. Other people don't love working from home for all sorts of reasons, and that's fine. But what I'm suggesting is that there is an overwhelming number of people who have realized that working from home is actually beneficial to their lifestyle, and they are going to go out of their way to make sure that they can maintain it going forward. One of the counter arguments that people have in defense of companies calling the shots is that, well, if you're an employee and you don't like it, you can just leave. And yes, I agree with that. And that's what's going to happen. People will simply leave. But what these folks don't necessarily realize is how disruptive and costly it is to companies when employees leave. Getting a new employee can be very expensive. It can be very time-consuming. It can be very disruptive to the remaining employees, and those employees may not like what's going on, and they can start to look around. It can very quickly have a domino effect in an organization. I've personally seen this. So to think that a company can just sit here and mandate and dictate and expect everybody to just fall in line is an enormous fallacy. The argument that companies are concerned about culture or creating some sort of a family atmosphere is just an excuse. Insisting that employees are in the office when they don't technically need to be is driven by fear. The employee-employer relationship is a business relationship at all time. Your job is not your family. And just like if you're not treated properly or given the right promotion or paid fairly or given the right title at the right time, whatever it might be, my whole point is that the idea of where people are going to work, whether it's remote, in the office, or some sort of a hybrid, is going to matter just as much as vacation days, benefits, salary, bonuses, etc. going forward. COVID has shed a really bright light on this arrangement, and so many people have woken up to the possibility of how work can look moving forward and how it impacts their everyday lives. And that is becoming more and more important to people in today's job market. Companies will not have a choice going forward but to realize this if they want top talent. If you have any thoughts on this topic, please drop me a line at jeffmagnusonconsulting.com. I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say. I appreciate you listening, and I'll see you at the next episode.